The depiction of orcs are apparently problematic and racist. Yes, that's apparently where we're at now. Fictional beings are racist, apparently. Fuck me. What? Why? Again, this is legit first world problems. You got nothing to complain about. Therefore, we're doing this. We're doing this.
Yo, yo, yo! Your favorite anime avatar girl is back again for a new spanking session on a new wannabe skeptic. Up next to the plate is one Mr. H Reviews, who I'm going to be calling Henry. Another suggestion I got a long time ago. This channel is quite weird at first glance, because this doesn't look like the kind of people that I have a problem with. I mean, look, Cthulhu mythos, vlogs, movie reviews, This is definitely not a conventional target. But hold on to your pants there, Grandma, because we haven't looked at his recent videos yet, and there it is, another one, another fucking Geeks and Gamers clone, because we really needed more of those. They're so fucking rare, we just needed more of them. Now I know why I got this request. Man, look at all those view counts. That's actually kind of tragic. Keep in mind, this is a channel with 250,000 subs, yet very few of his videos can break 20k views. Get woke, go broke, huh? How quaint. Seems like the opposite is happening here. Seems like you kind of alienated a large portion of your audience with some of the recent uploads. I mean, shit, people tend not to like having their sub boxes flooded with subpar content. Once you actually watch one of his videos, you'll maybe sympathize with why much of his audience has decided to leave. So, as you can read by the title of the article here, it's about orcs. Strange topic, but let's run with it. Does something seem a little off about that title? Yeah, like how progressive is followed by nerd culture in quotation marks, and how problematic and racist are in quotations as well. If you guess that this article is just going to be blindly shitting on progressives that have different opinions, then you are spot on 100%, because yeah, that's all this article is. Don't you also find it weird that he's cropping out the website that the article is on? Now, why would he not want you to see what website this is on? I wonder. Like Zoink Scoob, we got a mystery. You heard him earlier taunting the tired anti-SJW talking point about how these people have nothing else to be offended by, which is always a completely vacuous criticism made exclusively to dismiss someone's argument out of hand. Henry, I thought people like you were all for the marketplace of ideas. I thought you'd be all for discourse. I thought all you guys wanted to do was have civil discussions about media and culture. Oh, but I guess that's not true if the ideas made personally offend you. Then you could just dismiss them out of hand without an argument. Let's be real here. Anyone who frames something like this doesn't want to have a discussion. No intellectually honest person would ever say this. Not even a minute in, and this video already sucks. That's a fucking world record in suckitude. I also want to note that people like Henry here would shit on any other article they perceive as blatantly biased, yet not once in this video does he question the obvious bias of this article. Hey, it's okay to be biased if you agree with them, right? Right. Obviously, that's how being rational works. Never questioning any of your preconceived notions and being completely against any ideas that challenge your perception of the world. Very rational, much logical.
So orcs, the monstrous fictional fantasy race, are once again under attack by, and we use this term lightly, nerd culture. They're not nerds. The people that hate this are not nerds. These are just leftist. No, it's not even left, right? Because there's nothing wrong with being leftist in specific. We're talking about fundamentalist left, right? Just utter, I don't know. What can you call these things? Leave them down below. But this is not nerd culture, ladies and gents. We really need to stop addressing it as nerd culture.
I could just end the video here, because I watched this entire video and it was exactly what you'd expect it to be, but I'm not lazy, so let's summarize all of his points here. The obviously biased article claims that these random-ass Twitter users called the depictions of orcs racist and problematic. The thing that they called problematic is the description of orcs given in the new D&D role-playing section. Now, I'll leave it on the screen so you can read it for yourself. Once you're done reading, I'd like you to take part in a little thought experiment. Alright, are you ready? Replace every mention of orc with black people. When you read it in that way, it kind of sounds similar to how racists would describe black people, isn't it? No matter how domesticated an orc might seem, its bloodlust still flows just beneath the surface. That's kind of sounds like the 1350 statistic often quoted by racists to justify that black people are just naturally violent and are genetically predisposed to violence. The similarities can definitely be made there. Now, am I saying this was an intentional decision made to be racist? No, not even remotely. I even disagree with the tweeter in question describing it as blatantly racist. It's far from blatantly racist. It's just an easy parallel that can be made. And if you look at his tweets later on, he does describe this. But yeah, admittedly, he should not have called it blatantly racist, because it isn't. No, it is not. Allow me to quote an article that I will link in the description on this topic. Tolkien's Middle-earth is hieretical, employing the medieval chain of being, a powerful visual metaphor that has ranked all life forms according to the proportion of spirit and matter. God and the angels are at the top, human beings below, animals further down, and so on. Similarly, Tolkien's elves are at the top of the Middle-earth's hierarchy, while orcs are at the bottom. Because of their corresponding moral and spiritual qualities, or lack thereof, in Tolkien's mythology, orcs are traditionally monstrous. They represent corrupted, twisted versions of elves and men, made by Morgoth, the original Dark Lord of Tolkien's world. But Henry, being the knucklehead that he is, doesn't point any of this out, but instead resorts to completely intellectually vapid arguments like, "People don't think like that. Who thinks like that?"
So apparently they are unable to separate fiction from reality for failing to conform to very specific standards of progressive politics. Yeah, the incredibly progressive politics of if you don't accept this, then you are, like a bigot, therefore we hate you. Oh, so accepting. On April 25th, Arms of the Tide podcast host, don't even know what that is, don't care, but Quinn Welsh Wilson asserted their disgust and shock at the in-game description of role-playing as an orc found in the 5th edition of Dungeons & Dragons, claiming that the language used was blatant racism of an orc, ladies and gents. That's right, yep. Orcs. Orcs matter. Also, this individual does have they-them in their bio. That will tell you everything that you need to know about this individual completely. I'm in genuine awe that this came out for this edition of D&D. Holy shit. Oh, like you've ever played D&D. Piss off. You probably have appropriated D&D for your, I don't know, progressive... I don't even know. Anyway, most orcs have been indoctrinated into a life of destruction and slaughter. But unlike creatures who by their very nature are evil, such as... I can't even read that. Gnolls, I think. It's possible that an orc, if raised outside of its culture, could develop a limited capacity for empathy, love, and compassion, no matter how domesticated an orc might seem. Its blood just flows, Yeah, anyway. Whatever. Basically... they think that this is problematic and racist. It's about an orc. It's about an orc. Like, they're not humans, but you're going to project onto it. Which, actually, it says more about you, Quinn. They, them, my dude.
First off, dipshit, nobody. 1,200 people is nobody to you? Second off, how the fuck do you know what people think? Whoa, watch out, everyone. Henry is a mind reader and he just doesn't want to tell us. Third, your assertion that nobody thinks like this, no one is making these connections except you, is 100% horseshit. The idea that J.R.R. Tolkien's fantasy races having problematic elements has been debated for ages. The ideas of certain races being evil by their very nature, and some races being designated as better than others. Come on now. Article quote, "Do your thing." He never completed the Silmarillion, so there is no final solution to the question of their origin. Yet, the orcs in The Lord of the Rings undoubtedly have racial characteristics which are problematic. We never get a detailed description in the text, but reoccurring traits include slanted eyes and swarthy complexions. These elements sound straight out of a Victorian anthropology, linking mental qualities and physique. Tolkien wasn't the first to make evil and monstrous fantasy beings seem racially other. George MacDonald's goblins in The Princess and the Goblin are equally, and uncomfortably, a product of 19th century anxieties about race and evolutionary degeneration. As award-winning black fantasy author N.K. Jemisin has commented, orcs are a fruit of the poison vine that is human fear of the other. Does that mean that Tolkien was racist? Well, it's more complicated than that, unquote. Nobody looks about it that way. Bullshit! Your argument is bullshit.
As a lifelong, well, from my early teens, fan of orcs, and general orcoid creatures, never in my life have I, or anyone I know, associated orcs with people of colour. Exactly. Who? Literally, who does that? No one. No one looks at orcs and goes, that's them. Except for, this little chapo, the they-them, Quinn. Unreal. How the absolute F do you look at orcs and see black people? How do you equate man-eating monsters to black people? Exactly. You're literally just outing yourself as racist. Your own, unreal. Your own thoughts are just being outed right now.
The essential argument made against the tweeter by others, including the article, is that orcs are a fantasy race. They don't represent human concepts of racism because they're not real. Stop inserting politics where they don't belong, you libtard. All right. One more article quote. But in writing The Lord of the Rings, Tolkien switched narrative modes. He was now writing a novel, with different demands of characterization, dialogue, and so on. The orcs became more rounded characters. They acquired a clearer physical appearance, humor, and personality. They became people. At around the same time, Tolkien started rethinking the origin of the orcs. Corrupted versions of elves and men made sense theologically, because the evil Morgoth wouldn't have the power to create new beings, but only twist existing ones. But in that case, did these orcs have free will? Could they be redeemed? To anyone who would seriously argue that the orcs are not real things, so therefore they should be judged like people. Okay, to anyone who would seriously argue this, let me ask you a question. Where do fantasy stories come from? Really think about it. Think about it for a second. Do you think they're just pulled out of thin air? Do you think the ideas that make up fantasy stories just fall out of the sky? Do you think fantasy has no affiliation with politics at all, even though it's considered art? Well, if you do, you're wrong. You are wrong on a basic, fundamental level. If you do any research into the topic whatsoever, you would realize that many, if not all, fantasy tales take huge inspiration from human cultures of the time. Many of which are ancient, like the Greeks and the Romans, some of which are from ancient Chinese civilizations and Asian folklore. This guy tweets, "The whole orcs are black people. Stop. No. Complete straw man. Complete fucking straw man. Nobody said that. They said the description of orcs was similar to how racists view black people. That's their position. They clarified that much. Not that black people were literally orcs. What's this whole progressives are the real racists bullshit? Because they made parallels to how a description mirrors actual views that actual racist people have about minorities. That makes them racist somehow? I do not understand how genuinely brain dead you have to be to suggest something like that. Oh, what's that? Liberals constantly misuse the word racist? Interesting. How exactly are you any better by shouting, "No, you're the racist"? Is just disproving it not enough for you? Do you also have to incompetently smear them as well? Well, thank you for continuing to make the discussion more toxic while also complaining about discussions being so toxic. Here's some advice from me to you. Invest in a mirror sometime. You'll learn to appreciate it someday. I'm Kerri-San McDaniels, and I'll see you guys later.